Hello everybody, I am Keaton and this is Kid Catholic Season 11, Episode 25. I hope that you all are having an absolutely wonderful Tuesday so far. I know that I am. Now guys, recently the March for Life did take place in DC just this past weekend. I went there in 2019. I was unfortunately unable to go in this past one. However, with the March for Life, what I want to talk about today is something that sort of connects to that. We have a statement from President Joe Biden, sort of in response to the March for Life. Not sort of, it was in response to the March for Life. It was a January 22nd statement. Now, if you are unaware, the anniversary of Roe v. Wade was January 22nd, and Roe v. Wade is actually somewhat close to being overturned. Now, hopefully it is. We don't know for sure. But Joe Biden had a statement on that. And so I'm just going to read word for word Joe Biden's statement. Quote, "The constitutional right established in Roe v. Wade nearly 50 years ago today is under assault as never before. It is a right we believe should be codified into law, and we pledge to defend it with every tool we possess. We are deeply committed to protecting access to health care, including reproductive health care, and to ensuring that this country is not pushed backwards on women's equality." So there's more to the statement, but that basically sums it up. It's a long statement. That basically sums up what Joe Biden says. Now, obviously, we know Joe Biden is a pro-choice president, and honestly, I wouldn't really be talking too much about it if he wasn't Catholic or claiming to be Catholic. Actually, about 2.5, 3-ish years ago, in 2019, I released a video I actually interviewed my parish priest, Father Hamilton, on Joe Biden. It was before he was ever even president. I wasn't even sure if I was aware that he was running at the time, or maybe he had just started running or something. And we sort of talked about Joe Biden and him claiming to be a Catholic, yet if he was allowed to receive the Eucharist. Now, I'm going to get into that a little later in the episode, but what I want to start talking about is this sort of Roe v. Wade being overturned and what it might do. Now, I have made videos on abortion in the past, a lot of them because it is a very important issue. It is literally the mass murder of innocent babies in the womb who don't have a say, who don't have a voice. And so the March for Life, that is why the March for Life is so important. Now, overturning Roe v. Wade doesn't just mean that abortion is suddenly banned everywhere in the United States. Unfortunately, that is the end goal, and don't get me wrong, it's still a good thing. Overturning Roe v. Wade is a huge first step and a huge win for the pro-life movement, which can sometimes feel like, as pro-lifers, we maybe haven't had that in a while. And so overturning Roe v. Wade would be awesome. Now, there are about 5 states that are likely to ban abortion altogether, okay? And that's Florida, Indiana, Montana, Nebraska, Wyoming. Now, some of these I'm not entirely sure about. Some states like Indiana and stuff, it might take them a little bit longer, but at least a couple of these are very close or likely to banning abortion. And then there are about 26 states who are more likely to at least restrict abortion a lot more, and then eventually, hopefully, lead to its banning. So while it wouldn't outlaw abortion altogether, it would be a very big first step because, again, this isn't about women's health care. This isn't about protecting women's right. Nobody has a right to kill a human being, whether that be a man or a woman. Nobody has a right to murder. And so the hopeful overturning of Roe v. Wade is something that all Catholics should really, really be excited for and really, really want as the official stance of the Catholic Church. And I want to stretch this. This is not my opinion. This is the official teaching, official stance of the Catholic Church, is that abortion is wrong. The Catholic Church is just blatantly pro-life. The Catholic Church is. There's no doubt about that. There's no debate as to whether the Catholic Church is pro-life or not. That's not a debate that goes on because the Catholic Church is not. So, what does this President Joe Biden statement have to do with all of this? We may be thinking, well, Biden didn't perform an abortion himself, right? He didn't get an abortion, so what does it matter? And this is where I want to get into something called scandal, the sin of scandal specifically. Now, again, this is church teaching. I'm about to read from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, not from my own opinion, from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, Right here in the CCC 2284, scandal is an attitude or behavior which leads another to do evil. The person who gives scandal becomes his neighbor's tempter. He damages virtue and integrity. He may even draw his brother in spiritual death. Scandal is a grave offense if by deed or omission another is deliberately led into a grave offense. Now, abortion being the intrinsic evil that it is, we believe that as Catholics that abortion is an intrinsic evil. When Joe Biden releases a statement applauding abortion, as it's not like this is the first one, right? He has done it many times in the past. That is the sin of scandal. That's just the Catholic Church teaching. It leads others into sin. People see that. He expresses himself as a Catholic, and that's how we get some of the misconceptions that Catholics are suddenly pro-choice, right? And I don't like to call it pro-choice because that's not really what it is. It's pro-murder. And so here in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, we see what scandal is. Scandal is a grave offense leading others into sin. This Joe Biden statement, no matter what way we look at it, leads others into sin. It promotes abortion. It promotes the idea that abortion is something that is okay, that should be encouraged, and that it is somehow women's health care. Now, I do sort of want to go back to what I talked about 2.5 years ago with Father Hamilton, and that being literally the title of the video. I think it's something about like Joe Biden and the Eucharist, right? Something like that, like should Joe Biden be allowed to receive the Eucharist? Now, here I want to look at the USCCB, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. So again, what I am about to read is not my opinion. This is the official stance of the USCCB, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the official stance of the Catholic Church, okay? And it outlines sort of the requirements for receiving communion, okay? And this is for Catholics, as Joe Biden claims to be. Quote, as Catholics, we fully participate in the celebration of the Eucharist when we receive Holy Communion. We are encouraged to receive communion devoutly and frequently. In order to be properly disposed to receive communion, participants should not be conscious of grave sin and normally should have fasted for 1 hour. A person who is conscious of grave sin is not to receive the body and blood of the Lord without prior sacramental confession, except for a grave reason where there is no opportunity for confession. In this case, the person is to be mindful of the obligation to make an act of perfect contrition, including the intention of confessing as soon as possible. Canon 916. A frequent reception of the sacrament of penance is encouraged for all. Now, what I want to highlight there is this section. A person who is conscious of grave sin is not to receive the body and blood of the Lord without prior sacramental confession. So if we have a grave sin on our soul, right, we can't just go up there and receive the Eucharist. The Eucharist is God, right? The Eucharist is not just a piece of bread. It is literally God in every way, shape, and form. And so we can't receive it with grave sin on our soul. And if we sort of connect the pieces here, that's what the USCCB says. That's the stance of the Catholic Church. We go to the Catechism of the Catholic Church. It says, scandal is a grave offense if by deed or omission another is deliberately led into a grave offense. Scandal is a grave offense. Literally uses the same wording, right? A person who is conscious of grave sin, scandal is a grave offense. We come here and we see this quote in which Joe Biden commits scandal. So if we put the puzzle pieces together, right, if we connect what the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops says, if we connect what the Catechism of the Catholic Church says, all of which are not my opinion, but the teaching of the Catholic Church, I want to make that clear. Joe Biden, in all truthfulness, should not be allowed to receive the Eucharist. Now, again, it doesn't stop him, right? I mean, he still does. However, and again, this isn't my opinion. This isn't just to make people mad. This is just what the Catholic Church says about it. There are guidelines for receiving Holy Communion. The Eucharist is a precious thing. The body and blood of Christ is a precious thing. It is a gift to us that we are not to take for granted. And so not just anybody can go up there and receive it, right? Practicing Catholics who do not have a grave sin on their soul. I read the entire paragraph explaining the outline for receiving communion, right? And then we have the sin of scandal, which is a grave sin. And when you're president, when you're that much of a public figure, then that is a grave sin because other people are led into grave offense, and that grave offense being abortion. Abortion is an intrinsic evil, according to the Catholic Church. That is not simply my opinion. That is the stance of the Catholic Church, is that abortion is an intrinsic evil. And so any Catholic watching this, that's not something that you can argue. Abortion is an intrinsic evil the official stance of the Catholic Church is that. And so we as Catholics, with the March for Life, with the opportunity of Roe v. Wade being overturned, and hopefully it is, that is a big first step. It's not the final step, but it is a really good first step for us as Catholics, so that babies live. Because the murder of babies, while you wouldn't think that'd be controversial, unfortunately, apparently in our society, not being allowed to murder babies is something that a lot of people get upset at. And so we can pray for the babies who suffer during abortion, for the women who suffer through abortion, and we can pray for our government leadership that their eyes will be open and that abortion will hopefully, and Roe v. Wade will hopefully be overturned soon. And then when we have a Catholic president who commits scandal, it is something that's sad to see, and it is something that needs our prayers. I'm not saying that just Joe Biden is a terrible person, because we are not to judge people. We can only judge their actions, right? God is the only one who can judge anybody. And right here, the only thing that I'm doing is pointing out an action that was sinful of Joe Biden, and that is the sin of scandal. I'm not judging him as a human being, and there is a difference, and I'm not doing it through my own opinion. I am doing it through the official stance and teaching of the Catholic Church according to the CCC and the USCCB. So now that the topic is done, do y'all know what it's time for now? It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
And today's saint of the week is St. Angela Merici. Now, St. Angela Merici actually has a really incredible story, and her feast day is coming up in just a couple days, as of when this video is posted, on the 27th. Now, St. Angela Merici was orphaned in her teens, but still lived a life centered on Christ. In fact, she went on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land, and while she was there, she was struck with blindness. But instead of going home and thinking, well, I can't see anything here anyway, she continued to visit all the sacred sites and feel them with her spirit and see them in that way. On the way back from the Holy Land, her sight was restored, which is just absolutely crazy. At age 60, she and 12 other women founded the Company of St. Ursula. Now, while this wasn't like an official order of nuns, they lived a similar lifestyle in that they were called to lives of chastity, they were called to lives of obedience, and they did their best to teach others around them. She noticed that the catechesis sort of knowledge of a lot of people in her neighborhood, of a lot of girls that she knew, were not adequate, were not good to be truly faithful. And so she and these 12 other women started it with that hope, and then it eventually grew and grew, and after her death, it continued to soar from there. St. Angela Merici is such an incredible saint, and the Company of St. Ursula also continued to exist and is federated worldwide today with members in 30 countries. So when I said it started soaring when she took off, I meant it, or when she died, I meant it, right? Like it's still a thing. It hasn't stopped. And so the Company of St. Ursula, again, started by St. Angela Merici. St. Angela Merici is an absolutely incredible saint, especially when it comes to this idea of wanting others around her to be informed, to have catechetical knowledge, wanting that's something that really is beautiful and that we could take into today's world and what I talked about in today's topic, and wanting others to be informed on the issue of abortion. And anytime we feel like we might be struggling with that, we can always look to St. Angela Merici for help. St. Angela Merici, pray for us. So, thank you all so much for watching. Before you click off this video, please, I am not just a YouTuber, I'm also a Catholic speaker. I would love to come and give a talk to your church, youth group, men's group, women's group, school, parent, whatever it might be, you name it. If you want to contact me to come and speak, please email me directly at kidcatholic1@gmail.com, or go to my website, kidcatholic.com, click the contact me page, and email me directly from there. Also, go to my website anyway, kidcatholic.com. You can see details about my speaking engagements up there. You can read about me. There's a photo gallery. There's some of my recent radio shows are up there for Oklahoma Catholic Radio, and you can look at your very own Kid Catholic shop. There's a Kid Catholic shop up there, and get your very own Kid Catholic merchandise as well. Please check out all three of my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all three of those will be in the description down below. Please comment and say your topic suggestions that you might have for future videos. And guys, please subscribe. We are trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. It really does help this ministry to grow. It's free, it's easy. You're not going to get your email blown up or anything, but it does help this ministry to get recognized by others. If you are already subscribed, if you would please share this channel and video with your friends friends and family. Make sure that they're subscribed. Make sure that they know about Kid Catholic. That would be greatly appreciated. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you guys are having a pretty good sort of first month to your 2022 so far. This was Keaton of Kid Catholic. I'll see y'all next week, and hi Brielle.